Happy New Year! First video for 2023, an Intel update, the 2nd of January 2023. Loads of emails as usual. I'm trying to play catch up. There's going to have to be 2 today and probably more tomorrow and during the week. We're catching up over Christmas. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it right now. If you need to email me, there's an email address below this video. Email that in, I'll get through it all and it will be on an update video in the very near future. This one is mostly, well, it's all about finances and banking, okay? Lots of different sources, all being emailed over the last couple of days. So yeah, it's getting quite crazy, literally. So without further ado, let's go. Bank runs reported in Germany has already started. The advice is start taking your money out of your banks now. What's being talked about a lot, and this is by some of the top guys in finance, is that if 1% of the population take their money out of the banks, all banks will collapse. And those who haven't risk losing everything. Now, if that's not a scary warning, I don't know what is. Inflation figures, energy and food are not included in the BS 11.1% inflation rate. Okay, most of us are aware that it's way over 20% of what's going on, especially here in the UK. We're being told it's at 11.1%, but like I said, don't forget, energy and food is nothing to do with that inflation rate. So if you add that onto there, it probably gives you a much better idea, 24% plus of what the true rate actually is, okay? Major banks are now testing digital currencies, and looking into this, it looks like FTX scandal, which happened with the digital stuff, the cryptocurrency has impacted more banks than first thought. So that is having a knock-on effect, and it does look like the stock markets are going to be reflecting on this, okay? So do keep an eye out on finances in the stock market, okay? Moving on to America, the FDIC, they said there will be a crash and it will happen on a Friday night. Now, obviously there's no information and I can't tell you, and no way am I going to guess and make this up. I can't tell you what Friday night it's going to be, but typically when stuff happens with finances, it usually is a Friday or over a weekend, okay? Whether it's going to be a temporary thing and you won't be able to access anything, but if it goes down, that is pretty much the end of everything that we know, okay? That is going to be a genuine worst case scenario SHTF, okay? So a Friday night, there's going to be big issues with banks globally, okay? So what we're looking at now is people are going to be asking me, what do I do? I am not a financial advisor, but what I will say is if you do have money in the bank, significant quantities, I would advise that you look into gold, silver, land, useful items and barter items. At least you're going to be having something rather than your bank gets cleaned, okay? China, Russia and India are buying mass quantities of gold and silver right now. So these are not good signs, okay? The dollar bankers are pulling out. Sorry, the dollar backers are now pulling out, okay? So obviously the global currency is run on US dollar. As some of us have been aware, that is falling at a rate of knots now, and it's not going to be worth hardly anything very soon. So what they're trying to say is this email from a guy. Incidentally, all of these are going to be anonymous, okay? Some of them have asked to be anonymous, but I'm going to treat it as all of them are, okay? So no one's going to be mentioned and no locations. So yeah, the dollar backers are starting to pull out, and that's not a good sign. Now cast your mind back to 1995. Who remembers that wonderful character Gordon Brown? Do you remember Gordon Brown in the UK? Well, if you remember, he sold half of all of the UK's gold. What a lovely guy. And do you know what he got? He got $282.40 for an ounce. That's incredible. I mean, look what it is now. It's been hovering under $2,000 an ounce, okay? So what we're looking at here is an eye-watering 401 tons of gold out of 715 tons. Now, obviously, I don't like to talk about figures and stuff, but these are what have been put out publicly back in the time. So that equates to $2.4 billion. That's what he got. And it's going to be near on 20 billion if he was to have held on with all that. So moving on then, Russia, they're having bank runs, ATMs and pensions. Lots of talking about a banking collapse. Okay, so that's, like I say, all of this is tying in at the same time. Definitely smell a rat with this. Lots of big clues at the banks. Leading economists are saying 2023 will be unbelievable and the worst is yet to come. Also, we're having bank runs not just in Russia, but in the EU, some parts of the UK, Japan, Germany, and indeed China. All right. So like I said, once 1% of people wake up to what's going on, start panicking, taking their money out, the whole lot will collapse. Serious stuff. And in fact, it's quite frightening actually reading this out, okay, passing this information on. The UK police pensions as well. You know, as we know, the guys in the police, when they retire, their pension is very juicy, okay, and that is one of the appeal and one of the reasons, sorry, that a lot of police are still staying in those positions because they are holding out for that massive big pension. So we're looking at that. They've got the biggest pension pots from the councils. Anyone also on fixed base incomes, i.e. anyone who's on benefits, all of that is at a big risk right now, especially what the UK government look like what they're doing and the Bank of England behind the scenes. Hyperinflation looking at a real possibility this year. The pension pot, so we're talking police, firefighters, nurses, all of that money, then pensions are at risk. It's crazy, it really is. So signs before a collapse. This was another email sent in. This was yesterday morning. Food prices are going up. Energy prices going up, mass unemployment, fuel prices going up, energy prices going up, and interest rates going up. We are literally ticking off all those boxes, wouldn't you agree? And only when all of those which I've just read out have got to a certain amount, it basically is a collapse. And once it's at that point, there's not much anyone can do about it. So all we need to do is prepare as best we can. Also looking into a company called Binance. If you're not sure what Binance is, just do an online search and catch up. They saw withdrawals jump $3 billion in 24 hours. Lots of people are withdrawing funds from the banks. Some accounts have been frozen. Life savings, in some instances, are completely gone. Wow, that's horrible, man. Bank runs are happening. So that is from a company called Binance, who have just published that. Also, I remember reading this a long time ago on a live stream, and someone else has mentioned this as well. You have to be a regular subscriber to understand this. Halifax customers have been receiving letters and emails saying that their accounts can be temporarily frozen because of the economic situation within the banking industry. I remember getting an email through, an alert come up on the app, the banking app which I use, saying exactly the same thing. And this was a few months ago. Also the same as Lloyd's as well. They have been limiting amounts, and also they are levying charges as well. Because basically what we're looking at is complete chaos within the banking sector. Not just in the United Kingdom, but it does appear to be globally, and it is accelerating. So like I said, if you are in a situation where you've got a hell of a lot of money tied up in one bank, my advice would be is to get that money out of the bank and invest it in other things where the bank cannot touch your money. The worst thing is to wake up one day when this collapse happens over a weekend, which it usually does historically, and everything's been rinsed. You've got nothing. I don't even want to begin to imagine how that will feel. So that's my advice. Take it or leave it. I'm not a financial advisor. I am just a common sense believer. And all of these are emails which have been passed to me recently, and I'm just sharing the information out there with you guys. If any of you do have information regarding anything which has been said in this video, and indeed anything else which you feel is prepper related, so we're looking at shortages, supply chain issues, big changes in security and loads of localized things like that. The 15-minute cities, the migrant hotels, all of that is a real thing going on, and I'm getting lots of information all around the UK and also around the world too now. Okay, it's not just a UK thing. I'm getting emails from people overseas, and more of that in part 2 of this video to follow up directly after this one. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay funky.